Today, we want to talk about being alone, being lonely, and we want to talk about systems to understand loneliness and how to overcome that particular feeling. Hello everyone, we all get lonely, it's a reality, and our ways of dealing with loneliness for so many individuals are so destructive. They'll do anything not to be lonely. They'll text the wrong person, get involved with someone they know that's wrong with them, and create all these problems down the line just to deal with that small little emotion. So today I want to talk about how to deal with it so you don't end up in the avalanche of creating problems and understanding loneliness and its place in the different feelings and emotions you have. As always, we begin with a quote, and that quote is, "All men's miseries derive from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone." Pascal. All men's miseries derive from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone. From Pascal. I agree with this statement. We are so often looking and needing and wanting things to distract us and to keep us entertained that we forget quite often that we're okay. Everything is okay. There's no gaps, there's no holes, there's nothing missing. We don't need anything. And that's probably most evident when you ask someone to sit in a room alone. They freak out, they go looking for their phone, they can't do it. And it's a real challenge with modern society. We need to understand that being alone is at the core of what it is to build yourself as a human. You will deal with everything, all your major problems and dilemmas you will deal with alone. Yes, there'll be people supporting you and helping you and being compassionate and beautiful, but you, in your consciousness and awareness, will have to deal with the thoughts and the pain. No one else can deal with that. Many people can walk with you, but no one can walk the road for you. So, I know from my personal perspective, loneliness motivated me to get in bad relationships. Every time I felt lonely, I looked at who was the best option to fill that loneliness, whether it was a friend that might not be the most constructive friend to be with, whether it was a girl that maybe I knew we weren't going to be great together, but rather than deal with that emotion, I chose what fundamentally was a much worse decision in the long run, was to get into bad relationships or create distractions around it. Not knowing that loneliness is normal, and not knowing that loneliness needs to be worked through, and once you work through it, you can genuinely overcome it. So let's look at these steps, these ways to get over your fear of being alone and how to really process it. So number one is understanding loneliness is normal, and even in a relationship. Loneliness is a human condition. It's a thought that comes into your head, and all thoughts will come through and leave your head, and we need to know these so we can deal with it. But not when you're alone. Yes, the thought might come into your head more often, but in a relationship, you'll also feel alone, which really sucks for people who got into a bad relationship hoping not to feel alone, only to realize they still feel alone now they've got a bad relationship. It's normal, it's a thought, it will come. It doesn't need to drive you, but you need to know that the thought of being lonely will come regularly, depending on where you're at in life. Loneliness is a call to remember the joy of connection. We are so connected, and loneliness is a reminder that, hey, what else is out there? Who's around? Who can I connect with? Who can I share experience with? Because we are one. That's what it is. It says we are one. And let's go meet another one of us. Let's go hang out and interact and maybe help or serve or communicate or offload something with someone else. It's a reminder of the implicit connectiveness of all things. What we're really learning for is ourselves, is bouncing off ideas of other people. 3, loneliness, like all emotions, will pass. It will pass, If people, it's sitting in your room alone, we'll go to the quote. If people just sit in a quiet room alone and understand that the things that go through their head pass, they wouldn't be so quick to eat the meal, smoke the cigarette, or make the bad phone call every time they felt lonely. Another thing to understand is, like I said before, you're always alone. You will always be alone. Many people will walk with you on the path, no one can walk it for you. Choose carefully who you're alone with. So, like I said, since you'll always be alone, understand that relationships won't fix that. You will still feel alone, sometimes with your best friend, sometimes with your partner. So choose the best possible person, knowing that they're not there to remove the idea of loneliness. That's your job. They're there to be a great partner, and only choose them on that situation. Presence is another key one. When you're lonely and you realize that all these thoughts come into your head, like, oh, am I good enough, or am I attractive enough to get a partner, or do I have enough assets, can I even do this, am I responsible enough? All those thoughts, that's just thoughts, that's not you. Presence will cut straight through them, noticing that your hand and the skin on your hand is soft and warm, noticing that the clouds have sort of a very puffy expression today, noticing, you know, the small bird eating the crumbs on the ground. That's the reality. You are not lonely. You are connected to all these things. Understanding your want to be loved. Our need to be loved as a human is fundamental. That is best served by self-love. Self-love is inexhaustible and helps others. Constantly wanting someone else to love us back can be very fickle, because if they don't love themselves, they can only love you for a short period of time before that turns to hate. And so few people have true self-love. So understanding your wanting to be loved is fine, but it needs to come from inside first. And finally, becoming the person your lover would love. You know, I love the stories where, you know, the princess kisses the frog and it turns into this perfect partner, prince, you know, blonde hair, carriage, knight, king, you know, castle, trust fund. And then what people do is they kiss all these frogs. They're like, eventually I'll find the person who's perfect. And the reality is that if there is a person who's perfect, are they going to be attracted to you? And that's a really hard question, right? To think about your dream lover, right? You know, and you know, if you're thinking, you know, like any guy, you might say, looks like Miranda Kerr, you know, is really, really smart, knows heaps about the sports I like. Okay, let's say that is Miranda Kerr for a second. Is Miranda Kerr going to be attracted to you? Now, the reality is that I'm not sure who Miranda Kerr is attracted to, but I'm assuming that as a successful, you know, incredible female that she is, she's probably attracted to incredible, successful males. So, do you love yourself? Do you look after yourself? Do you improve yourself? Are you the sort of person that she would ever love? Now, what's interesting about this process is as you become that person, you will naturally attract those people in your life instead of chasing them, because they will see what's in you. Fear of being alone is real, and I understand, and it drives so many people to desperation. It is natural. It is your reminder that we are all connected. And every once in a while, it's nice to tap a friend on the shoulder and say, hey, how you doing? Alternate version of me. Don't say alternate version of me. That freaks them out. I do it, and I get that response. But know in your heart it's an alternate version of you, and get interested and understand where they come from. But also know that you won't feel lonely all the time, and you don't need to do anything destructive in your life to overcome it. It's completely normal. Something to think about. You won't be alone, because there'll be another video waiting for you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.